hello. Let's see. Let me get into my sewing group and let me see who is here.
Oh, she never finished it. She goes.
Who do we have? Let me go get into this and see. We should have my... I am not seeing this. Let me just make sure we're all set. Hey Patrick, I'm not seeing this up. Patrick? Just give me one more minute because I am on our Facebook groups and I am not seeing this in here. And I just want to make sure. So I'm in our groups. I'm not seeing it on here.
So this is...
Are you to the sew along group?
I should be. A1 Rena sew along group.
Okay.
You never hit go live.
I did. Okay, there we go. Hi there. Hi,
There's
Miss Kathy. I guess I never hit go live. I was looking for it on Facebook and wasn't able to find it. And of course, I just yelled for my IT guy, Patrick, and he came running. And now I think we are all set. So if you were waiting, I'm sorry about that. Here we are. And let's talk about what we're going to do. So I toiled. I absolutely toiled over this. And, you know, when you go to quilt, when you go to do something like this and you just sew on your inner border and sew on your outer border and then you do all the quilting, it's so much easier. But what you don't want to do, what I don't like, is I don't like variations in like this is just single layer and then this is quilted. I'm going to be adding some quilting to this probably this weekend as long as I have some time. So I did want to quilt my outer border before, my inner and my outer border before I put them on. I'm going to show you, I did go ahead and quilt these. So I'm going to do it again just to, for example's sake. But this is going to be quilted and you can see the shadowing of it, that the batting is just going to be right here in between the stitch lines. So it's going to be in there. So it won't be as bulky when we go to stitch this all together. And I'm going to be doing it in an 8x12 hoop. If you don't have an 8x12 hoop, you could do it in a 6x10 hoop. You could do it in a 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop. You're just going to be limited in like how long it is and how much width you could do. So I am going to do 8x12. And but I did do these in my 9.5 by 14, but you're gonna have enough room. If you do it, you'll have half an inch in between, so it'll be snug in the 8x12, but it's definitely doable. And I just wanted to make sure more people had that as an option, and that's why we're going to be doing it in the 8x12 today.
Hey Gail, we had a notification that there was some kind of issues with the stream. Could you just comment if everything looks clean on your end?
When you say we had a notification, did somebody...
No, just something came up here saying that.
And if it's not clean on your end, you can also go to YouTube because this is simulcasting to YouTube as well. For some reason, it seems as though it's just cleaner on YouTube. We're just checking.
Yeah, we should be.
Are we good? Are we good, ladies?
Yeah, it should be good.
All right.
Do you want a glass of water?
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be quilting with this today. Isn't that kind of fun? In case and then maybe I'll decide, oh, I don't want orange. I want this, or I want purple. So how I'm going to be doing this, and this is the finished piece top. So we're going to get into quilting this. And then we are going to do our embellishments. And your homework is going to be for you to finish up your outer borders. Now the outer borders are fatter. So I was trying to decide what size hoop I was going to put my outer borders on. I know I have them here somewhere in this pile of stuff. But the outer borders, where are my outer borders? Here they are. Maybe because they're 4.5 inches. I was thinking I would be doing the outer borders. I would do the outer borders in a 10.5 by 10.5 because that would leave me room. If you do the 9.5 by 9.5, they're going to abut. So that's really not enough space. You're going to have to go 10.5, or else you have to do it individually and just go ahead and rehoop. For me, I thought, geez, could I go ahead and could I take this and piece this to this and then do the quilting with both of these together? And maybe that's the trick next time. And that way you could sew on once you're done. I think that's going to be quicker. But I couldn't figure out if would I have to do like a mitered corner? Is like maybe I'll do a mitered corner. Or would I go ahead and sew these on so it was flush there and then flush over here and then sew the top and the bottom? But the issue was, what if you, I was like, you can't really do that. You could do this and it would work, right? You could quilt those two together and that would work if you sewed it on right here. But then the bottom part wouldn't work because unless you didn't have it, unless you did this across the top. Do you know what I mean? So I thought if it was me, I think I would have just done a mitered. It would look like that, right? And we don't want that. That's what it would have looked like if you had just done this side section and then put the top on. Because my inclination, the first thing I thought of, hi Miss Audrey, is I thought, oh my God, let me sew these together and then I was like, I'm going to sew these together and then I'm going to sew it on, or I'll do the quilting and then I'll sew them on. But I was stuck with what I was going to do up here. So I was going to go ahead and do all this and then do a mitered corner and then do this, a mitered corner, and then it would have worked. But I didn't want it to be confusing in our sew along. So I just decided I would quilt everything individually. But that's the quandary. Otherwise, you have to quilt these all on their own. You have to quilt these all on their own. The only thing that you can do that's going to make it a little bit easier is you can do multiples in a hooping, and that's what we're going to do today. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I just wanted to let you know, like, the thought process, and I really toiled with it, and I really thought, how can we do this and make it as easy as possible? So I love doing the quilting and the hoop, but when it comes to the sashing, I'm a little lost. So I don't know if there is an easier way, or if what you're going to have to do is just do it down in strips. So I have a piece of muslin that I cut that's going to fit my 8x12. So I'm going to go ahead and hoop that up first. So here's my muslin. I'm just doing it down in a strip. And, I feel like I learned a lot doing this quilt because I did some things differently. I did some things where, like the piecing and the hoop, I was still able to do the quilting in one hooping. So it all kind of worked out. So I really enjoyed this. And if you want to do Candy Cane Lane and you haven't gotten it yet, I got shipping confirmation. So I sold 2 more kits today. So now I think I have 9. And I'm going to get 10 more, but those aren't going to be here until November. So if you want it now, you better get it now. It's going to be super cute. And if you're not sure if you ordered it, then just send me a note and I can check for you. So we are hooped up. I want let's go over to the machine. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. I have a white pre-wand bobbin in there. And you got to figure out what thread you want to quilt with. I'm going to go ahead and drape this over on this side. I think I put my USB in already. I'm going to be doing these. The green, I know yours is orange. I already did my orange. That's why I'm doing green. And I thought it would be super cute with the home of the haunt, because they had you use the striped thread. I mean, not thread. They had used striped fabric, and I was like, oh, this is kind of bright. This might be really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my upper. It's going to give me a little bit of contrast. It's like that darker shade. And now we have to talk about your hoopings. I'm in an 8x12 hoop. You can fill the hoop. So I'm going to go over here. And if you have any questions, I am looking at the messages. So just go ahead and ask. How many people are right where I'm at right now? You've gotten all your piecing done for the top. I am going to do something where I add the quilting into those ones that I didn't quilt in the very beginning. I know some people just went ahead and redid those. I know, I'm so sorry, ladies. I'm going to be pre-quilting from now on. So I'm going to go in here, and I want my quilting designs right here. I cleaned up my USB too. And the recommendation for this is going to be that border quilt. So right here it says design number 4, it's 41, so you can look in here. In 41, they're saying they want you to use Halloween to border. So I'm going to go to my border designs. Border 2, right here. Oh my goodness, I was just looking at the quilting from Candy Cane Lane Bench Pillow. It is so adorable. It's so cute. Okay, so we're going to do block by block. And your choices are 1x7, 1x10, 1x12, 1x14. When I was in my 9.5x14, and you can use your 9.5x14 right now if you want to. That's the design I used. I'm going to be using this, the 1x12, because that's as big as my hoop is. I am going to set that. And I took a picture of this. Let me get rid of that image. So I'm going to turn that off. Embroidery. Whoops. Return. I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Let's pick our hoop size because we want to know how much of an embroidery field we have to work with. So I'm going to go to my settings button, which is on the top. Yours might be in the bottom left. And I'm going to choose my 8x12 hoop, which is right here. So I'm filling that hoop from top to bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that design because these will stitch out in the order in which you load them. So if I put one here, one here, one here, one here, it's going to stitch like that. I'm going to move this all the way to the left, put my next design in, put my next design in, put my next design in. So let's go ahead and I'm going to hit close on here and I'm going to move that all the way over to the left side. Edit, and I'm not using my finger because I don't want to move up and down outside of my embroidery area. I'm just going to hit move and I'm going to use the arrows. And I have my hoop on here. So just make sure you're right on that line. So I'm a little under. There, I'm right on it. All right, now that you have that one, I'm going to say okay. Instead of going to add and going to the folder and finding it all over again, you can just hit this button. That's going to make a copy. But that's too low. I'm just going to go to move. I'm going to hit the center button. This little circle will center it. I'm going to move it over. Just going to kind of eyeball it for right now. Okay, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to go to move, center, move it right. Let's do another one. And I can straighten these out once I have them all. I'm going to make another copy. I'm going to move, center, and just move it all the way to the right. And now they'll stitch in this order because that's how I loaded them. You know, I wear glasses, but sometimes I feel like I can't see in them. So I don't want to accidentally move these up or down. So I am going to go back to this one. And you can see it put like a box around it. I'm going to move that one over a little bit. And then we'll go to this one. I'm going to move that over. I'm just trying to space them evenly. And that looks great. So I think we are ready. Any questions? Are we good? Looks like we are good, ladies. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to say embroidery. Oh my God. Change to a larger frame. So maybe this one's too far right or that one's too far right. So I'm just going to go ahead. If I go to move in my, if I'm in the next screen, it combines them. So I'm going to move them individually right now. So I'm going to go to, let's go to the outside ones. Move, I'm going to move that in a notch. And then I'm going to go to this one and move that in. Okay, embroidery. That was it. So there was one of these was like a click too far over left or right. And let's go ahead and we're going to color group too. So this is not a feature on all your machines, but on this machine you can see that it is doing placement, batting, quilting, placement, batting, quilting, all of that. I'm going to go ahead and hit layout and I'm just going to color group. It's going to be this 2 to 1. And now you're going to see it's going to do all the placement for the batting tack down, the placement for the placement line for your background fabric, the tack down, and then the quilting. We are good to go. Let me go ahead and load up my thread and we'll go ahead and start stitching. I cut my batting to fit the whole hoop. So if you're using an 8 by 12, cut your batting 9 by 13. If you're using a 9.5 by 14, cut your batting 10.5 by 15. And then you'll be set. Do not cut, well you can, but I wouldn't cut individual strips. That's just kind of a pain in the butt when you're doing 4 at once. All right, my ladies. I'm gonna go ahead and hit start and let's start stitching. This is the placement line for your batting. Some of you are probably just stitching with me, working on something else, and that's totally fine too. I'm all about trying to do as few hoopings as possible, doing as little as possible to get my end result. Don't forget your batting has a wrong side and a right side. The wrong side is the side that's bumpier. So spray on your wrong side. We're going to get ready to lay this down. I'm going to go grab a spray box.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
I need a new spray box. Have you seen, I don't know what happened there. Have you seen what Momo did to my spray box? I've loved my spray box for probably like, I don't know, maybe like 5 years, 8 years. And then Momo just sat on it. He just sat on it, ran over it, and then broke all the sides. So I think I need a new spray box. Like this is so, look how beautiful this is. And look, it's so clean. Mine is like, mine's really disgusting. Probably has lots of Momo hair in it. So when I spray, I have my box set up. Whoops. Don't spray in machine. I gotta confess, sometimes if I have a little piece, I'll just like in the air. But my box is so gummy, like I can take a piece and just like tack it down and it'll stay. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this a light spray. Nothing too crazy. So let's come back over here. And now I'm gonna lay this down. And now we're going to do the tack down. Get your applique scissors ready because then we're going to do the trimming. That's not a very good view, is it? I'm going to grab my applique scissors because then I'm just going to go ahead and trim this up. So it needs to be, I'm trying to think, one row, like the left and the right side. Let's see if I have a tape measure. we're going to go ahead and trim that. So you're going to trim away all the excess batting. Da, 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 da. And trim close to the stitch, but don't trim the stitch. So this is going to be what, 36 inches or 12 and 12. I'll have to measure the sides and see how much we need, but so it, you know, when we did the bench pillow Main Street Celebration, I think I added the quilting later, so I pieced the inner border. There was an inner border and I pieced it to the outer border, but that was just because it was long strips. They weren't connecting on the corner. So you have options. But if I was doing this just for me, I would have pieced the inner and outer border together, and I would have just done a miter join. But, you know, I just didn't want to be confusing. Because I'm impatient. I'm like, I gotta trim all this. Let's slop it all together. And then let's just project. Let's not even, we would skip all of these steps and we would just project that, the quilting stitch. We would jump right to the quilting stitch. And that's what I would have done. So when I do Candy Cane Lane, I'm going to put both of those together. There might be a little bit of batting in my seam, but I think it's totally worth it to not have to do each one of these individually. What do you ladies think? I mean, has anyone done this part and done the quilting? I know some of you are already done. What do you ladies think of that? No comment. Let me look. I'm looking at the messages. What machine are you using? I am using a Luminaire. I'm on a Brother Luminaire. So when we do these classes, we usually either, because I'm at the store, and I'm either on the Luminaire or I'm on the Solaris. And if you don't have a Luminaire or Solaris yet, you should get one because it's amazing. And Patrick always jokes that, I mean, I've had the Luminaire because I had the Luminaire 1 and then I got the Luminaire 2. Sold my Luminaire 1. And he always jokes that, you know, I'll come upstairs from sewing. My sewing room is downstairs. I'll come upstairs and I'll be like, oh my God, I love that machine. So I just love everything about it. I love the giant hoops, which I wasn't excited about in the beginning, but now that I do so much quilting in the hoop, I mean, you just get through things so much faster. I love the one-step plate changer. I love the projector. I love the guideline markers. I love the matte finish. How do I love the Luminaire? Let me count the ways. There we are. Okay, after we do this and we cut away all of the batting, you're going to do a placement line for the fabric, and that's really important because that's going to tell you where to lay down your strips so that it can do the quilting. And this is going to do that like candy corn flower quilting, which is adorable. And it should look something like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and just put my foot down, and I'm going to let it do the placement line for the background fabric. And you're seeing that it doesn't go all the way, it doesn't go a 1/4 inch past, it goes right to the edge because you're going to abut your pieces. You're going to get the next one on there. We're going to cut this and trim it. Okay, while it's doing that, I'm going to get my spray box back out. And you should have 4 strips. And let me get my camera right over here. I'm doing the line because I already did my orange ones. And then I'll decide which ones I like best. But I'm going to go ahead and lay this down, and I'm just going to spray the very top part of it. You don't have to spray the entire thing. And of course you want to spray the back side, not the front side. I think I caught that. And I kind of sprayed this a little liberally because I want it to be sprayed on the edges too. There's one. Move that out of the way. Let's get my next one. You don't need to spray the whole thing. We're just putting down 12 inches at a time. I don't know why I thought I had to miter these in the beginning. Because I was in a panic. Because I wanted to do my green and white striped ones. And then I didn't put it in back. I don't think I've made it to sew along a single one without forgetting something. Because I'm always packing up for it like first thing in the morning on my way to work. Okay, so those are all sprayed. Now I'm going to lay them down. You want to go beyond that line on the very top. And you are going to fit this fabric from left line to right line. You want to go right in between both of those lines. Just go ahead and lay this down. And you can, right here where kind of like there's no machine under here, so don't press down too hard, but kind of press it down, and as it stitches, then you're gonna, will adhere it even more. So I'm gonna put that one down. Isn't this kind of fun though? Coloring with fabric. What I love about this kind of stuff is no matter what machine you have the ability to quilt in the hoop, which I think is amazing. And if you want to do your own quilting and add your own special sauce, then just keep quilting on your own. I love that too. But if you don't have mad quilting skills and you need some help, Kimberbell is there for you. And don't forget there's the blue tile system too. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. I cut this one a little skinny. That's okay. It's okay. So it is going to do a tack down. So go ahead and just put that down, and it's going to tack it down just on the inside of those lines. The inside of the left and the right side. And as it's coming down, I lay my hand on top of it. Because you couldn't do that before, so. You could only do it on the very top. You just want it to be nice and secure. You know, you can't really do this with tape, so you kind of need the adhesive spray. And if you're using a lot of adhesive spray, a 7511 Madeira anti-glue needle is really nice. And sometimes you might, adhesive can sometimes cause your thread to break, so you might have to clean off that, clean off your needle. How you doing, ladies? I know, I really like the green too. So I'm glad I'm doing the green and the orange, because maybe I'll just use the green instead. I think I'm more of a green girl than an orange girl anyways. I love this fabric. I love tone on tone. Uh-oh, my thread, something happened to my thread. Let me go ahead and rethread. It could just be the spray adhesive. Remember I was telling you that 2 seconds ago? Look at me breaking thread now. Okay, I am going to go back. If you don't know how to go back, you're just going to go in this button, and I'm going to go back. Let's see. I'm just going to go back until it clicks over to the other side. There we go. I'm a pretty light sprayer, but when I'm doing this quilting in the hoop and I'm laying these pieces down and they're right at the edge, then I spray a little bit more because I want to push it down so it doesn't like wrinkle up. I don't like wrinkles and puckers. So Ruth is asking if she can do this on a Spirit, and absolutely. And if your Spirit is upgraded, then you have an 8x12 hoop. And you can do everything that I just put in here except the color grouping. So you can't do the color grouping, but you can still use the quilting designs. You can still, you know, set it up and move all your designs around just like I did. You have that same move button, that same move centering button. You have all of that. The only thing you don't have is the color grouping. So you would just do one of these at a time, which is totally fine too. So I'm going to go ahead and now it's time for the quilting. I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. And now it's going to do all the quilting, and that's going to be, it looks like 7 minutes of quilting. So I'm just going to let that go, and then I'm going to show you how to trim it and how to add on your next section. I'm just going to let it do its quilting, and I'll be right back. Isn't that adorable? Look how cute those are. So I did my orange ones, but I don't, maybe my orange was too close. I should have done it darker. Like I think I did the orange and it kind of matched the light orange. You definitely have to pick a darker color because that looks so much cuter than my orange ones. I think what's going to happen is these orange ones aren't going to get used. Let's measure out and see how long you need those strips to be too. Oh my goodness. I went and got a tape measure and I lost it. And then I went and got another one, and as I came back, I could see it underneath all the fabric. So the directions for this want you to put your sashing pieces on the side first. So I'm just going to measure this. There we go, a little sticky. So that is 30 inches. So I think just 3 hoopings, because that'll be 3 inches, and then it'll add 2 more inches to the other side. So that'll be what, 32 inches. I know there's some seam allowance and stuff. So we should just be able to do 3 hoopings and be good for both of those. Well, 3 hoopings, and then yeah, we'll be all set. So cute. What do you think, ladies? And the concept would be the same with your sashing pieces, the outer sashing borders. See how that's too big though for this? So we'd have to, I mean, you could do, maybe we could have done one of these and one of these. So you could do that if you wanted to do your 8x12 hoop. You do one skinny one and one fat one, and just work your way down with those. Always trying to think of what I can fit in my hoop. Hello, Miss Michelle. So is there a special group that you need to be part of? Well, I'm not quite sure. Like for this is just a free sew-along. So you can just be part of the sew-along group. There is just on our website, our Facebook page, a1backandsew.net in Reno. If you look it up, you can find us. I am so bad at that stuff. I was with a customer earlier today, and I could not even... I struggle on the phone. Like I can get through my Facebook and all of that stuff pretty well on my computer, but on the phone I couldn't even get her into our groups. So I'm not sure. Send me a note and then maybe be a little more specific, and I can figure out what groups you want to be in. And then Michelle from Oregon, thanks for joining us. All right, ladies. Look how cute that is. Is that just adorable? I love it.
Is that a message for me? Or?
Patrick, is this so cute? Look at Patrick. Is that so cute?
Oh my God, it's so cute!
He just does that to be nice to me. All right. So once you're done with this, we're going to pop it out of the hoop. He was walking by, so I just like to make him tell me it's cute, even though... Does he really care? I don't know. All right, we're going to put this back here. You're going to take these, ladies, and throw them back. Throw them back. You're throwing your long, luxurious hair over your shoulder. And we're going to get a seam ripper. I'm not a seam ripper. We're going to get your rotary cutter. So we are going to cut all of this like right there, right by the stitch without cutting your fabric. Do not cut your fabric because you don't want to have to do this all over again. All right, ready? Whoops. Hang on. Hang on, are we still there? I think I accidentally hit something. So right here, don't cut any of that. See if I can get this a little bit lower, my head around it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my rotary cutter and just cut right by that stitch, but make sure you don't cut any of the stitches or any of the fabric. No second chances.
So Jennifer's exact words were they did the felt.
I rather leave a little than cut anything. So it's going to look like this after you've cut it. And now we're going to cut all the edges off. So you're going to separate these and we're going to lay this down again. We're going to rehoop and then we're going to do the next section. This isn't that bad. So I'm going to get my ruler. And do this one and get all that edging out of the way, and you are going to cut right down on that edge. And that is what you are going to sew later. Perfect. And then we're going to put this down. Broke this ruler somehow. Sometimes if it's not totally straight, and see how you've got your 1.5 inch over here, I would kind of get it 1.5 inch. And
Can these go out?
they can.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And then this one is done. We're ready to rehoop and put this down. So just go ahead and trim them all up. Remember, you're the boss. You control your fabric. It's not in a straight line. You just get it to do what you want it to do. I'll go ahead and trim this. So we have this one. Oh my god, it's so cute. Doesn't it just, sometimes when you stitch something, it's so cute, it just makes your heart happy. You get all the like warm feeling right in your heart. Oops, did I just move that? It's hard for me to cut sometimes just because I have the camera in between me and the project. This is my favorite ruler. This actually came in and it was broken. And I was like, oh, but we'll just keep it. And I'll just keep using it. It's been fine. Okay, and one more. And then I'll show you how to lay down the next one. And 3 hoopings, that's not that bad. Now with the outer sashing, because it's wider, you know, depending on the size hoop, you might have to do more than 3 hoopings. That's why I signed it for homework. I haven't done mine either. I got tired. I got tired and I got sleepy after I worked on this like all weekend. This and Home is Where the Haunt is pillow, which I love it. And then this weekend, so Kimberbell is in Utah, and so when they ship us stuff, we usually get it. We usually get our stuff from them in like 2 days, sometimes 3. So I'm hoping my Candy Cane Lane comes tomorrow. Wouldn't that be great? And then Maywoods is, I think, in Washington. So I get my stuff from them in 2 to 3 days. So I'm hoping that'll come in too.
What size needle do you use for polar fleece in your serger?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Just
It's, I think an 80-12 or 90-14 would be fine. All right, we are going to go ahead and rehoop again. And let me show you how to lay this down. And once you get this, you will be so good to go. I'm going to put this in my hoop. Patrick's going to be gone. And I hate it when he leaves. He's like my security blanket. All right. Let me tighten this. Oh, I can't tighten it anymore, so it's good. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on. We don't have to do anything because, ladies, our designs are already laid out. We don't have to have anything really particularly lined up. So we're ready to just start our stitching. So just go ahead and put your foot down, and you are going to do the placement stitch first. And you know, ladies, I'm probably going to do just this next one because you'll get the picture. You know what you need to do. The only thing different with this is I'm going to show you how to line up the fabric, line up our strips that we did in the last hooping. And then you can finish that up. You can just take that and kind of put it to the side, and you can finish this up later on because I want to get our embellishments done. Okay, get your piece of batting. Give it a shot of spray to the back. Behave, ladies. Use that spray box. My thread, let's see what happened to it. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And if this happens, don't be worried. I'm using spray adhesive. I'm going to check my bobbin. See, looks like my bobbin ran out. I'm about to run out. I'm going to go ahead and just change it. And let's get a new one. It's not a new one, but I just want to use up my thread. This is just a placement line, so I'm not even going to go back. I'm just going to start right where I am. If you haven't done it yet, ladies, for the embellishments, you do need a copy of this. So make a copy of that if you haven't done so already. That is going to be on page 45, and that's what we're going to use to make the pennants, because we're going to have to trace our pennant banner template onto a separate sheet. So and we're going to use that to cut out 5 pennants. So go ahead and make a copy of that and cut it out. If my batting is ready to lay down, get to the top, I'm going to set it in, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit start. Depending on your machine, you have to put your foot down and hit start. What happened? I just have my copy right here. I'm just gonna cut it out. Oh my god, don't look. These are paper scissors. Don't. They are paper scissors right now. Do it on the dissolve away. Remember how they did it on the dissolve away for the other ones, and then you just cut out on the line? I thought that was like super easy. So I don't know why they're doing it this way.
Because now that the new ones are out, I have a feeling everybody will end up with the.
Ta-da! There's your template. Just keep stitching. We're going to get ready to trim it up. Get your applique scissors out. 3:03, so we're an hour and 3 minutes in. And I did talk for like, what, 10 minutes? And so if we did it all, it's probably like 30 minutes per hooping to get it all done. That's not bad. This is where I get impatient and I just start cutting. I don't even wait. Why wait? It was moving in my direction anyways. It's like moving towards me saying, cut me, so. I think I'm impatient. I have a patience problem. Did everyone get their clear blue tiles? Because I really want to do, they have a table runner pattern in there, and then I think it would be really fun to do that as a class. Just the clear blue tile part. I mean, we could do the table runner part as well. I think I want to just figure out what fabric to use. And I haven't even opened mine yet. I want to open it, and I want to check out that table runner design, and I think it's going to be super fun. What's nice about that system is I don't think you need a camera. I think you could be on the Spirit, or you could be on an Aventura, and you could add the quilting, depending on the size of your quilt squares. I talked to somebody and she was like, I am in love with my clear blue tiles. So we're still doing ours at 20% off. So, if you haven't ordered them yet, I mean, is this an inch? Be nice if I could just stick that in the, reuse that, reuse those strips up. I don't think they're quite an inch. just hit start, and it's going to do placement line for your fabric. You're going to grab your fabric strips, and we're going to go ahead and spray them again. Here we go. The next 12 inches. You don't have to spray the whole thing. So right from here to about here, we're going to spray. Maybe I'll just lay them all down like this. And we'll do it all at once. Sprayed and ready. Let's get ready to lay them down. So what you're going to do is you are going to fold these back right where the batting, right where the fabric meets the batting. And you are going to lay these down so the very top of this is at the top of the line. I always need to stand up so I can see this. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this out a little bit. Okay. And we're folded back. We're going to just lay it down right at the very, very top. And this you can just kind of flip back. And then same thing. We're going to just get this lined up right in between the left and the right stitch. Go ahead and do that. We'll do the next one. We're going to fold it back right here. Wrong side of the fabric goes down so you see the batting towards you. Flip it back. I'm going to lay it down. Okay, we'll do the next one. Easy peasy, right? I don't know why, but I had a tough time wrapping my head around how do we hoop. I thought you needed to leave those. I didn't know what I was doing, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so once I figured out, I was like, oh, that's super, super easy, but I didn't really quite understand how these were supposed to come together. So hopefully this is helping you, making it easy for you to do the quilting. Fold it back. You want the batting side up, sticky side down. It should be sticky so you can lay it down. Flip it back, ladies. Okay, now that you've done that, slide this back on. And it is going to do the tack down stitch. Go ahead. And I'm just going to hit start. And I'm just going to let my hand kind of rest down here so I can make sure that fabric is nice and flat. So especially on the very edges. Okay, we're just going to do this last one, and then I'm going to have you put this design into memory so you don't have to redo it again. You can just pull it up. I would just take this whole thing and just put it to the side. If you're done with your embellishments and you just want to keep quilting your sashing, you can do that too. This is just girlfriends sewing together. That's all this is. This is our time to just stitch. I don't care if you come and you work on something that has nothing to do with the candy corn quilt. If you want to just hang out with us and stitch together. It's just nice to make some time for yourself to do some sewing. And look, our joins are done. We're ready to do our quilting. And you can do this with no-show mesh too. I think I've told you like a million times. I just really like doing it with muslin because it's just softer and I feel like it's easier to work with. And now we're ready to do our quilting. So I'm just going to hit start. And I want to say it was 7 minutes of quilting last time. We're just quilting our border pieces.
Oh,
And the hoop.
how cute is that? Oh my gosh. How fun is that?
Yeah.
It's cute.
Oh, you did not. My thread. Okay, this is, and I did get a little shred right here. And I'm going to feel my needle. Seems okay. So I'm just going to rethread. I am going to go back a couple of stitches. And if I was quilting through, and this was going to be it, I would be bringing up my bobbin thread. So to go back a couple of stitches, we're just going to go right here, and I'm just going to go back. I usually go back 20. And I am going to hope it doesn't break again.
So these are his.
Someone else. Diane, just saw your comment. I love that you suggested that. I actually thought about doing that too. We were talking about it at the beginning of the class, but I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be confusing in case I just didn't know if the other ladies would find it confusing. But I would love to see yours. Did you already do that? Did you sew them together, quilt them, and then miter them? Because I would love to see that done.
Hey, will you sign into this?
Oh my God, thank you, Patrick. Oh, it looks so cute. Part of me thinks I should just do this, and then my binding strip should be the purples. That would be adorable. Diane, if you're still looking for it, I have 8 more kits on order. 2 are taken, so I'll have 6 more. I don't know. All they could tell me is I should get them in October. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll get in touch with you and save a kit for you. If you just need the pattern, I've got the pattern available. I think it's on our website. Okay, and while it's doing this last one, let's go ahead and take a look at our embellishments and what we're going to be doing with those. My cover ripped off. I was too rough with it. So, hang on. Let me change my bobbin out again. Hang on. That was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Sorry, just putting a new bobbin in. So, we're going to go ahead and do this one first. And it called for a wash away stabilizer. So, guess what? I'm actually going to use some wash away stabilizer. And we're going to do this in our 5x7 hoop. I brought that with me too. Brought all my hoops with me. And I'm just going to hoop it up. I think I was doing freestanding lace with this last. I think there's a bite mark in it from Momo. He likes to attack my stabilizer, and he likes to attack my roll of batting. That's on my long run, which makes me really angry because he bites through it. He's so naughty. All right, and then you're gonna need for this your white embroidery leather for the dimensional banner. And you know what I thought was really interesting when I was doing the, sorry about the glare, when I was doing the embroidery from, here we go, let me grab it. This is, which I haven't finished, but this is Home is Where the Haunt Is. I need to trim my threads. And they had you change out your needle to a 70-10 needle, and I did use a 60 weight embroidery thread, and I haven't trimmed all of this yet, but I thought it looked so good and the letters were so distinct. So when I looked at this, I wondered if they had made the same recommendations, and I didn't see that. But I thought that was a good call to do that. And it could be because this lettering is going to be a little bit thicker. It's not like that straight on thin lettering. So maybe that was why they didn't have you do it. So we are hooped and we are done with our embroidery over here. I'm going to have you do the last embroidery on your own now that you know what you're doing. But before you clear this screen, I want you to put this design in memory. And I'm actually going to save it onto my stick because this is the store machine and I'll probably finish this up at home. So I'm going to hit memory. If you're on your machine, just go ahead and put it on the machine. I'm going to save mine to my USB. And I'll do this last hooping when I get home. But I mean, I think you can agree it looks pretty darn amazing. Looks really, really cute. So put that in memory before you're done. And I'm going to go ahead and unhoop this, and then we're going to do some of our embellishments. And I'll just leave it just like this because this is how it's going to go home with me. I'm not going to be using my 8x12 hoop again today. Let me just check your messages really quickly. For the candy cane, so I am not, oh God. Did you see that big mess in the corner? I like to move my camera very specifically so you don't see any of those big messes. But maybe it'll just make you feel at home. So the candy cane bench pillow is, I don't have that planned as a sew along. So that is probably, a lot of times I'll do these, and all the quilts, I do all the quilts as a sew along, the bench pillows, I usually do those as a paid class, but let me think about it. Maybe we'll do it as a sew along. Haven't really thought too hard. I have the weekend to think about it. So, here's our two-dimensional banner. First thing it wants you to do is stitch the banner placement line and place your letter right side up. It wants you to do that with white thread. So I'm going to go ahead and load this onto my machine, put some white thread in. I already have white thread in my bobbin area. Let's come back over here. And I'm going to take out my green thread. Let's load up our design. I'm going to go home. I'm all paranoid. I definitely put that on my stick. And not a big deal if I have to redo it one more time. So we're going to go into embroidery. I'm going to go to my USB. And I'm looking for a candy corn PES. And we are looking for the banner, which is going to be right here. So go ahead and touch that. Set it. I'm using my 5x7 hoop. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 5x7. I just like to see where I am space-wise, and I'm going to go ahead and hit embroidery. Let me slide my hoop on. Miss Paula, have a great trip wherever you're going. And I'm going to put my thread in. If anyone still needs to order Candy Cane Lane bench pillow kits, I think I have 8 full kits left. And I have the thread sets too if you need the thread sets. All right. So I think the first step is going to be the placement line. So go ahead and just stitch directly on the stabilizer. You want your white leather. It is not white leather. It is not white leather. Okay, finally found it. There's my white leather. I am going to give it a little shot of spray, but I think I told you when you spray it, the spray adhesive kind of soaks through kind of instantly. So I'll just give it a little shot of spray. Just know it dries. It doesn't leave a permanent stain. Go ahead and lay this down, and I want my leather to be at least 1/8 of an inch outside of that stitch line. And then it wants me to do the tack down, stitch the banner, tack down. Do not trim the leather. You're going to do that later. So go ahead and tack it down. So there is a banner shadow, and it needs to be gray. So go ahead and find a gray that you like. I love it. didn't even check what needle I had in here. I think I've got an 80. Feels kind of fat. I'm gonna just put in a, where are my needles? The bigger your needle, the bigger the hole. And because I'm going to be doing so much stitching on this, I'm going to switch it out to a 7511 anti-glue Madeira. Couldn't find my hoops. Screwdriver. Whoops. What am I doing? This is the side I want to be on. I think that's an 80-12. I'm going to put one of these in. These are my favorite embroidery needles. They're made by Oregon, and it's funny because they're sold by Madeira. They're the Madeira Anti-Glue. And then there's another brand that sells them. I want to say it is called, is it Best Premium Needles? And they're the exact same needles. The packaging looks exactly the same. And those needles, the Madeira ones are $6.99, and the other brand is $8.99. So just know they're the same. And get the Madeira ones. Because why spend the extra money for the same thing? Okay, this is going to do the shadowing right here and right here and down out of the view of the camera. Just go ahead and stitch that out. And then you want black. And I'm going to put a black bobbin in as well as black thread in my upper. Change out my thread. Put in black. If you want, you could use black and a charcoal. I'm just going to use black and black for both of these. And let's put black in the upper. And then hit start. This is stitching out the banner top and bottom.
Okay, yeah, that's normally.
And then fabric bolts and quarters. So I'm going to leave it with that black thread in for both of those.
Put it back up. You're most welcome. All right. Can you order me like 4 of them?
I can do that. Yeah, no problem.
So Kathy, regarding quilting your borders, I can see exactly what you're saying. The issue with just sewing them on and then, because you could just sew them on, the issue is you're going to have, if you just sew your borders on, then you're going to have quilted, and then you're going to have border pieces that aren't quilted. So then you have to figure out how you're going to add your batting there, or you could just take the whole thing and you can layer it all, you know, but this is already going to have all the batting in it. If you pre-quilt, it's going to have all the batting. So now you're going to be dealing with the quilt that has batting already. You're going to be adding your border pieces, and those aren't going to have batting. So you're just dealing with the variations of your thicknesses, and some of it is already quilted, some of it needs to be quilted. I just wasn't sure how I would deal with that, and that's why I went ahead and did my border pieces and quilted them in the hoop. So if you don't want to, if you want to just sew on your inner border piece and sew on your outer border piece, then you're just going to have to figure out how you're going to do the quilting just on that when the rest of yours already has the quilting. That's it. So I just didn't feel like having to figure that out, and so I went ahead and quilted my border pieces. I'm going to go ahead and stitch out the lettering right now. I would highly recommend matching your bobbin and your upper thread. So just putting black in both. Cram had some issues with the needle cutting into your leather, so definitely do a 7511 needle. If not, you could also do a 7010 needle with 60 weight thread, but you don't want to do a big fat needle because you don't want to cut into the leather. While we're stitching that out, why don't we go ahead and prepare our pennant banner pieces. So let's come over here. And I pulled everything out of my embellishment bag. So for here, while that's stitching, it says you are going to trace your pennant banner template onto a separate sheet of paper. I cut mine out. I hope I can find it. Oh, here it is. Phew. I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Use the template as a pattern. To cut 5 pennants from the leather. We're going to be using your gold embroidery leather. So here's our gold embroidery leather right here. And we want to cut out 5 of these. So I'm going to grab my pen and I'm going to just trace it out. Let me get it from the side angle so it's not in my way. I'm just going to go right to the edge and then I don't have to cut that edge. Fold it up a little bit more. Okay, so there's one. So you want to do 5 of these. Oops. That one fit? No. But this will fit. Will that fit? Maybe if I had traced them a little bit better, they would. Okay, gonna cut these out.
Set, right? Is it for anybody?
Yes,
You do. It's anybody. I'm just trying to tidy it because it's almost 4, and I was hoping to leave it 4 if that was okay, or right after that. Shortly thereafter.
All right, and there's our little pennants. So, trace your pennant templates onto a separate sheet. Use the template as a pattern to cut 5 pennants from the leather. Fold pennants in half, wrong sides together along the fold line, and press well. And then you're going to cut your twine into 2 10-inch pieces and 1 15-inch piece. 2 10-inch, 1 15-inch. Tie bows in the 2, oh, I get it. So we're going to do 2 bows, and then we're going to have the 1 inch where we string it on there. And you can take this to your iron and just give it a little press. You want to make sure you're using a pressing cloth, and just look at them and see what side looks better. And then you're going to put them on that side. So let me go ahead and find my twine in this pile. Here's your twine. Yes, Miss Kathy, just read your comment. Yeah, if you did not pre-quilt, don't quilt your sashing pieces. You want to do everything all at once. And there we go. And this is done. I need to stitch the back, so I'm going to go ahead and put in an orange. Let's go back over here. Very cute. I'm going to put some orange thread in. I'm going to go back to my white bobbin as well. Slide that off. White bobbin. Whoops. I seem to always pop this thing off. I don't know. Is it just me? Am I the only one? My favorite orange. Let's pop this in, and it's just 1 minute of stitching for the word bat. All right. Back over here. I'm going to go ahead and get my twine. And let's and we want 2 10-inch pieces. I'm going to measure from 10 to 20. And then 1 15-inch piece. Let's see. And that's exactly 15 inches, so I don't even have to cut that down. Now I want you to take your 2 10-inch pieces, tie bows in the 10-inch pieces of twine, trim your excess length. Some people really struggle with this, and I totally get it. You just have to be able to tie knots in the air. There we go. Not bad. I like to pull my rabbit ears up, and then I'll pull them a little bit shorter so they're not so big and crazy. And then you can trim the bottom part. I'm not going to trim it quite yet, just in case. You never know. I always go, uh-oh, do I need something else? So there's one of my bows. All right, we are done with this embroidery. See how I have 3 things going at once? And it just says, remove your project from the hoop. Trim your leather 1/8 of an inch from the stitching and soak sign 20 seconds in cool water to dissolve and lay flat to dry. Hand tack banner to the quilt shop. And I'll put that on later. For right now, what I'm going to do is I am going to just pop this out of the hoop. I am going to trim it 1/8 of an inch. Put my hoop away. I like my curved straight for this. This I'm just going to cut off for right now. It doesn't have to be cut perfectly. I figure the less of this that goes down my drain by accident. And I never rinse off directly in the sink. I know it'll say run under cool water or warm water. Number one, I like really warm water. I would go so far as to say I like hot water. Because I've done warm water, it doesn't dissolve as well in just warm water. The hotter the water, the better it dissolves, or the more easily it dissolves. Okay, so I'm going to just throw this away. I used to hoard all my dissolve away pieces, and I haven't been doing that as much lately, just because I poured everything. So I'm trying to control myself. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut this 1/8 of an inch from the stitch. And it just looks pretty like that. And it's pretty when it's not perfect. I mean, you don't want it to be like wild and crazy and all over the place, but what are these stitches sticking out from behind for? That is not okay. Get those, ladies. Get those threads. Don't let them make your piece look messy. Okay. And then it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. And you can come in here with your side hopper. If you don't have one, you should get one. And your side hopper, you can get all those little extra threads that are kind of hanging out in the front. They're not perfect because they don't, you kind of have to come back at those stitches a couple of times, but they're way better than, I think they're way better than anything else. Where is that coming from? Oh my goodness, my eye is burning for a second. Hang on. Sometimes a good eye scratch, like a good eye rub, nothing beats it. Okay.
Can I put these away?
Yeah, those can go on the wall.
On the wall?
$9.99.
The whole thing?
The whole bag, just like that.
$9.99?
Yep. And I'm going to finish that up later, but you can go in and clean up all those little threads. Pretty darn cute. And that is going to go over, does it go over? It goes over the little haunted house. And I think you're just going to hand tack it down. Does it go there? I think it goes there. Isn't that cute? I just love it. All right. So that is done. Put it somewhere where you're not going to lose it. If you're like me, things get misplaced. And we are going to move on. So let's go ahead and finish up our pennants. So those have been trimmed, and let's tie the rest of our little bows. So I have one little bow here. And I'm going to have another little bow. And it wants you to even place a small amount of glue inside each pennant to adhere it to the twine. And then we're going to place our pennant banner on the quilt shop roof and the top right, and we're going to attach those. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do it like right now. I'm going to do this when I'm near the end. So I'm going to assemble this. Let me go ahead and plug in my glue gun. And I'm going to put those to the side. I'm going to put all of these on. I usually like to put it on when everything's all together. It's kind of like the last thing that I do. But I am going to heat up my glue gun. Let's heat this up. And I will put these on. Let me make sure I have my 15-inch piece here. And this couple of straight. I'm just going to kind of fold them down. And we don't want to space them out evenly over this. So I'll find the middle of this. We kind of need to know how far to space them. There's my thread right here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here and then I will press it down. Let me get a piece of scrap fabric too so I don't make a big mess all over my mat. This was from my serger class yesterday. And you can always trim them down a little bit if they're not totally even. Let's see if I'm ready. I am not. Give that just another minute. But while it's doing that, we can lay our quilt down and let me move this out of the way. This is going to be going between the house and the very top corner here that has the bat. That way we can kind of get an idea of how far we want to space those out. You can't really undo this once you've done it. It's going to go to here, here to here. That's going to be the middle. And then we can lay down the other ones. One here, one here, one here, and good luck finding your last one. One right here. So I think if we just went ahead and spaced them out maybe an inch. Let's look at the picture one more time. They're kind of going all the way, so maybe an inch and a quarter. Drive safely.
Okay, see you later.
We'll do the middle one, and then I'm going to just do an inch and a quarter, make sure everything's laid out really evenly. .5. Okay, right there should be good. Okay. I think I should heat it up now. There we go. Okay, there we go. There's one. do a next one. Do one right here in the middle of this. Just folding that up. Here we go. Oh God, you know how bad glue gun burns are? They're the worst. Go right there and lay this down. And then fold this over. And pull this up. And that one is done. Oh, you know what? This one slid. I didn't put that one. Okay, next one. So that first one, I didn't put glue on the very center part, which I should have. Ooh, that's hot. I'm gonna fold this over. It's gonna be cute, right? It'll be perfect. We'll get one tied right here, and we'll get one tied all the way up there. It looks adorable. I'm gonna go ahead and put the last two on. And I can trim these if I need to. This down.
We still have that one, they slide on, actually, yeah, we have these for that. But if the embroidery unit itself, if the arm is like, if that part's gone, I don't know that we can order the whole unit.
We can.
So, cause when you say arm, I don't know what you're meaning, is the arm part broken?
Okay, last one.
Uh-huh.
I love a glue gun.
Yeah, well.
Don't you love a glue gun?
Yeah, there's an embroidery unit, so the complete machine would be the sewing machine part that looks like a sewing machine, and then it should have a tray that snaps onto it.
I always get a little groove or figure out a little system.
Pops off, and there's an embroidery unit that goes onto the machine. You'll see when you take the tray off on the part of the machine, the side of the machine closest to you, you'll see that there's like a little opening there for the embroidery unit to plug in. And a good thing to do would be ask how many stitches are on it. Have them show you how many stitches are on it.
And then you can just pick which side. Whichever side looks better. And then if you need to give it a little trim. This was my first one that I did. And sometimes the first one's the worst one. I'm going to put a little dab of glue right here just to...
Getting warranty parts, probably not as easy, but not impossible. It's a 2500D. Oh, okay.
they cute, ladies? Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to take my other bow and I am going to take my last piece of twine if I can find it. I'm going to tie one more bow and I am going to put this to the side because I will put these all on later. Right now I'm just going to kind of prep my I can't find my other piece of twine. Story of my life. So I will find that other piece and I'm going to put it in the bag with everything else. And that way I can go back to it when I'm ready. Let me pull this all out. I'll put my finished pieces in here. Okay, so pennants and your big banner. Those are going to be done. Kind of done. We're going to have to put them on. All right, next thing. Let's go ahead and look. And let me check. I haven't looked at messages from you, so hang on 1 second. We're going to do the next thing. Whoop. So Kathy asked about quilting around a design. So Miss Kathy, I did not pre-quilt these three and the pumpkin up here. So I am going to be doing that. I'll do it in a video and I'll show you how to do that. So just look for a video to be posted onto Facebook. Hopefully I'll be able to do that this weekend. I'll be saving a stamped image and then adding stippling before I put any of the other embellishments down here. Okay, so we are almost done with our pennants and our dimensional banner, and hopefully I find that other piece of twine that goes on there. Now let's go ahead and we're going to do our dimensional mini quilts. And so what you're going to have for this, and I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. Anytime I have one of these, I usually do an envelope back on the back instead because I just think it's easier turning it inside out, and then you don't have to stitch up a little spot. Like for here, they leave an opening for turning. So I like to just do an envelope back for these, and that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to get these out. So go ahead and get out your 3-dimensional mini quilts. These, I mean, look how cute they are. They're absolutely adorable. First thing you're going to do is you're going to cut the quilts from the fabric panel found in your optional embellishment kit. Let me see if I can find the opening for that. Let me open that up. Let's get them out. And your seam allowance is included in the print. So you're going to cut exactly on the edge of the printed quilt. So these lines right here takes into account your seam allowance. You're going to cut right on those black lines. So I'm going to put this right here. Let me get my quilting ruler. I'm going to lay it down and we are going to cut exactly on those black lines. And I'm going to actually cut the 3 of these first, and then I'll cut them apart. If you get a little outside that line, a little inside that line, it's going to all be fine. One. cute? Michelle Gilmartin is coming through, admiring how cute these are.
Tiny.
Aren't they adorable? And there's one
They
more.
are.
What did I do with it? This is Home of the Haunt, or no, this is Home is Where the Haunt Is. I don't know what this one is, but these are like past Kimberbell quilts. This, of course, is Twilight Boulevard.
Oh,
and
yeah, the pillow from
Isn't
last
it
year.
cute?
It's adorable.
They're so adorable. So now what they want you to do is they want you to, you need your project batting. So you need 3.5 by 3.5, 3.5 by 2, and 3.5 by 3.5. That's going to be the size of these. And then I'm also going to add the, do I have my little, these are my pieces. I brought some of these, 3.5 by 2.5. And then we're going to want some, if you haven't cut it and you want to do the envelope back, just go ahead and cut it with me. So we're going to do 3.5 by 3.5. This is going to be one of the batting pieces. I forgot my rotating mat today, which makes me super sad. Not that I have to have it. So 3.5 by 3.5. You want 2 of those. And then you want 3.5 by 2.5 for the little mini. Three and a half by 3.5, 3.5 by. And then I just brought some scrap fabric. So when you do the backing, if you're going to do an envelope back here, it's nice to have it come up to about here and the other one to overlap. So that's going to be, so if we cut it 3.5 by 5 inches, because that'll be 2.5, and then 2.5 this way, or 4 and 4. That'll overlap 1/2 inch. I'm going to do 3.5 by 4.5, and that'll be perfect. So 3.5 by 4.5 for these two, and you're going to cut 4 pieces. Hopefully this isn't too confusing for you. Here are my batting pieces. These are the ones that are going to go inside to make them nice and give them some body. Oh, that's not right, is it? 2. This should be 2 inches. There we go. And I'm going to do 3.5 by 4.5, which means they're going to have an overlap of 4 and 4. That would be just 1/2 inch, and that would be a little bit more than that. Okay, so I brought some extra fabric, just my scraps. Let me make sure I grab the right thing. I want to be cutting something I really need. So I brought this, and I thought I could do, let's just do 3.5 by, oh, that's perfect. This is almost 5 inches, so 4 3/4. So 3.5, there's my 3.5. And we're going to just go ahead and press these in half. So I'm just going to cut this up. So it's 3.5 by 4 3/4. And that's just kind of what this piece was. I'm going to cut 4 of them, and I'm going to press them. Turn on your iron. Three and a half. Pull this down. The little one, you want those to overlap. So that is going to be an 1.25 inches. We could do 1.5 inches will be too much overlap. So I'm going to do 1.25 inches. Let's do that. For the other one, Just do 3.5. I'm just gonna cut these down. 1 inch and a quarter. 1 inch and a quarter, so let's do 2, so you can do 2.5, or I'm gonna do, I know it's a little bit more, but I'm gonna do 2 3/4. 2 3/4. Oh, that's not enough. 3.5 by 2 3/4. Fabric's gonna go the wrong direction. 3.5 by 2 3/4. Okay, so I have 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 2 3/4, and I have 4 pieces that are 3.5 by, I think these were 4 3/4. And I am going to press all of these in, I'm going to press these in half. We're going to get pressed like this. Not hot dog, but hamburger. And when we sew them on the back, we're just going to flip them right side out. Got it? Any questions? 3.5 by 4 3/4, 3.5 by 2 3/4. Let's go ahead and press these. Here we go. Over to our pressing area. And you don't have to do this. If you want, you could just make the little opening, turn them inside out. You're going to press them right sides together. I mean, wrong sides together. If you want, you can give it a little shot of best press. I'm going to put my dual feed foot on. So this is for the skinny long pillow. This is for Twilight Boulevard. A little more prep up front, but easier to deal with in the end. All right. I'm going to go ahead and convert my machine over to sewing. And my 1/4 inch sole here. I love my dual feed walking foot. It's pretty much all I use. Let's see if I can find my screwdriver. A logical person would leave it on top of the machine so you could find it easily. Oh, look, I put it right in front of the machine. I'm going to convert over to sewing. So let me go ahead and go to the sewing part of my machine. Slide on my dual feed foot. You want to hand tighten and then always tighten with a screwdriver. I have a round-handled screwdriver here, yeah, but I cannot find it, so that's why I'm using this right now. I'm just going to leave the same orange thread in that I was using when I was embroidering. Let's see if we can get it up here. I'm going to stitch at, you can stitch at either 2.5, it's fine. So, what your machine wants you to do is, if you look at your instructions, it says, place quilt fabric right side up on top of the project batting and using a straight stitch machine quilt as desired. And then you're gonna place back piece right side down on top. We're gonna put our two pieces that are going to overlap so we can just turn it right side out. But to do our quilting, I'm going to turn on my guideline markers. So if you have this on your machine, you just turn this on. This is your guideline markers. You got to give it just a sec. And I like to do mine with red. Sublines is where you turn them on, and I'm going to just turn on my guidelines. So you see that grid mark on my bed of my machine. I'm going to use my open toe so I can see my stitches. And those are a little far apart for me. Those are 1/2 inch. What do you think? Actually, that's pretty perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down right here. And I am going to sew this way. I'm going to do one straight line and then I will do my grid work. I'm a foot control girl. Let me plug it in. I'm too uncoordinated to use my start stop button. And I'm just going to do my first row of stitching, and I'll just leave that orange in. Whoa, hang on. I'm set to go as slow as the machine can go. So now my eye is going to stay right here and make sure that, and maybe green would be better for this. Green? Nope. I'm going to go back to red. I'm going to start with my needle down, butt this up against the needle, and my eye is going to start here and make sure that that last row of stitching stays on that mark that I just did. This is how you could do parallel rows of stitching without having to, and I could go, it's kind of like having a left quilt bar and a right quilt bar. I can just go ahead and keep turning my fabric. Oop. You sew a little bit off, you can pull a little bit. Let me move that over here. Nice feature. There. I'm going to go right down the center because we didn't go this way. Do you see quilting? I'm going to go down the center. Way over here. Ooh, let's see. Hang on. Got him a little smushed. because, you know, we did so much stitching on such tiny pieces, with the quilting and with the designs, the Kimberbell holiday designs, that we could have just chosen something that would fit our 3.5. I think that's it. And oops, I totally didn't do this whole other side. Let's do the whole that other side. And there's our quilting. So we are done with that. Pretty cute. Okay, and then let me go ahead and grab my other one. We'll quilt that. And you do not have to quilt it like that. You could just use the lines that are on here. I could just go ahead and quilt. I could go ahead and quilt here. I could use a, you know what might be fun is, how about if we used a little serpentine or something like that?
It was like, you know, I'm like, they're like, well, it says in the package.
Maybe we'll use a tiny serpentine, and I'm gonna make that not as wide. And I'm gonna make it much shorter.
It never shows it arriving in Ontario. Well,
Something like that.
It arrived in Ontario.
Let's project it. So you also have a projector in addition to the guideline markers, and that's what it's going to look like. You see that? That looks pretty cute to me. I'm going to go ahead and just go with that. And my guideline markers, I'm not even really paying attention to those. I'm just going to... Holy tiny stitch. You gotta turn that up.
Yeah.
It was so little itty bitty. I don't know if I have the patience for that. I'm gonna just do a little zigzag. So I'm gonna switch that over. I'm gonna go back in here. Let's just go to stitch 109, which is a tiny zigzag, and I'm just gonna use a zigzag. Because that was with, let's see how that looks. There, let's go with that. Make my length a little bit longer. And I love that I can project it right onto my fabric, and I can see what it's going to look like and where it's going to go. And that to me is way better. Perfect. Did you even see that? Let me get my camera in a bit better angle. Do the next one. There we go. I like that better. I'm going to just project it and stitch. So use your projector. It's fun. Use your projector, use your grid lines. I could turn off those grid lines. I don't really need them. Let's go back in here. I'm just going to use my projector. Off. Guidelines off. Now I just have my projector that's going. check and rethread your upper thread. Projector on. I'm going to come from the side so I can see a little bit better. Whoop. Needle was not threaded. Came undone. Sometimes when you go pedal to the metal, that can happen. My eye's just staying on the projected stitch. And I'm just projecting it right down into that gray area. I'll just do one more row of stitching. And that looks cute to me. I'm going to go ahead and put the back on now. So, I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch foot. You could trim these down if you want. And I'm going to grab my 2 back pieces. So, let me grab this one and this one. And I'm going to put them right side to right side on top. And I'm just going to, so I have my right side of my quilt. And you want the fold, this is my fold, they face inside. Don't put them, that's going to give you your finished edges. Don't put your folds over here. This should all be the raw edges. And I'm just going to go ahead, let me go back to a straight center stitch. And put my foot down. I want to be about 1/4 inch in. And that's my stitch length. I'm going to go down a little bit. Did I get, my tail is getting caught? Hang on. There we go. Hang on. My fabric was getting caught in there and kind of pushed down a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to be mindful of that when I go to do my corner because this is off a little bit. So normally this first black, those first red lines, that's going to be my 1/4 inches, but I'm going to turn a little bit early. One more stitch. There we go. Sometimes I'll turn one more stitch. There we go. Lined up against my flange, which is good. One more stitch. Turn. One more stitch. Okay, I always go back again. Back over that. Go ahead and cut. Let's cut those corners so it's not bulky, and let's turn it inside out. Make sure you cut to this stitch, but don't cut the stitch. Don't be too aggressive when you poke out those corners. Now you have your little envelope back, and you can just turn it right side out. I like to turn one side, poke the corners, and then I'm going to turn the other side and poke the corners. You're not going to be able to get to one set if you turn both of them. Let me grab my corner turner. And how to get it where you can see it. Don't be too aggressive. Don't be too greedy for a sharp corner. I have this point turner, which I really, really love. It's the Clover one. And then I also have my OESD one, which I love. So turn that, then you're going to turn the other side and poke these corners. And then we don't have to sew up the little opening. You don't have to worry about that. I don't know why I have these threads here. I'm going to pull those out. And that one is done once we poke these out. And then you'll just give it a good little press, and that one is done. And there's your back. Nice clean seams, okay? How'd you like that? I'll give that one a little bit of a press. Let's do the next one. So the next one is quilted. I think we quilted it, didn't we? Right here. And I have all this excess fabric. I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Let me trim that so it's going to be easier to have a nice clean edge. Okay, envelope back. Okay, remember when you lay this down, you want to have the folded edge pointed in. I'm going to do this side first. I'll do a little back stitch there. I don't back stitch for long lengths with the dual feed, just a little bit. Perfect. Perfect. One more stitch. I just love a flange. I'm a flange kind of girl. I am going to turn that corner. And then I'm going to go here, so, and I'll back stitch again. Okay, cut. And then we're going to trim those corners. Let me turn off that projector so it's not as distracting. Trim, trim. Okay. We're going to go ahead and turn this inside out. Oh my God, you know what I did?
What?
I did wrong side to right side. Okay, ladies.
Oops.
Just a little break. Let me get my seam ripper. That's a lesson in how not to do it. Did somebody see that coming? Were you trying to warn me and I didn't look at your messages? Oops. It wouldn't be wouldn't be sewing with Jeannie if it was perfect.
Nobody's perfect. It's not sewing with anybody perfect.
Michelle's always so sweet to me. She's always like, nobody's perfect. I want to be perfect.
No.
I do. I want to be perfect for you ladies. Now I have to watch how I sew right to that corner. Okay, ladies. So that was what not to do. Make sure you put right side up. And both of your pieces of fabric are right side because they're folded. This is a lesson on sewing right to the edge because I trimmed those corners. So we're going to have to get it perfectly to that corner without going over. If I have to make it a little bit smaller, that's okay too. All right, this is the side that should be facing up. Hopefully I'm putting these on the right, I'll put this down. I'll have to go ahead and trim some of that other stuff up. I'm going to go right from this corner. Let's see if I can get it. One, there. That should be it. One more stitch. Oh, that might be a little too far, but okay. See, I just have to be really careful. See if I can get this corner. See if I can get it in. I'm worried about that one stitch in the corners. Okay, I think we're good. All right, I'm just gonna be super ginger when I push up my corners. So, oh, there it is. That's what I wanted to see. The quilt. I'm going to have some threads that I'm getting out of the way. And that corner I'm going to be super careful with. I'm not going to be too aggressive with it. Turn this one. And there's my envelope back. If I was at home, this is where I go, oh, you're tired. Time for a nap. Then you have your nice clean edges, aside from the little threads that I'm going to have to snip. I didn't clean it up before I sewed it back together. We should call this real life sew along. I'm going to go ahead and poke these out just a little bit. And come back in here with my... And I want to get that one last corner. I just can't resist. I'm going to get him a little bit better than that. Okay, I think we're good. Looking good. And we can give those a little bit of a press. I'm going to throw these at my ironing station. We're going to do one more. And I'm going to make sure it's facing up. Oh, you know what? I didn't even quilt this one. What should we do with this one? Let's just do a squiggly line. I'm going to do a true serpentine. Folder 2, serpentine is 219, and I'm going to do a true serpentine right down the center. I'm going to project my stitch so I can see where it's going. Let's put on my other sole, my regular open toe one. Open toe. Where are you? Okay, there's where it's projecting. Don't you love that? You see it right where it's gonna go. Thread popped up. It came in a little too hot. That's cute just like that. I like it with just the serpentine on the very top and the bottom. Maybe I'll just do a straight stitch. I'm going to do a straight stitch right in what would be the sashing area, like right down here. Okay, I'm going to put my two back pieces on. This should be facing up. One on here, one on here. And we're going to 1/4 inch all the way around. I'm going to go this way so I'm not fighting against this. I'm going to do it where it's going down. Let me put my 1/4 inch foot back on. Whoops, overshot it. There we go. One more. That was too much. Anytime I go too much, I go back and forth a little bit more. Okay, let's trim it. Trim those corners. I went back and forth on those, so those trim corners should be fine if I got a stitch because I went back over those. Alright, and let's turn it inside out. Turn one side, poke, turn the other side, poke. Get to poke with my fingers first. Oh my, this is so adorable. And I think these are for the witches. I think the witches are going to be holding these. So again, I'm going to be putting my quilt together. Isn't that adorable? I want that corner poked out a little bit more. So you can go back. Just turn that one side. Okay, let's give it a little press if my iron is heated up. And there are our little quilts. Aren't they so cute? They're adorable. All right, let's figure out what else is going on because we are right about 5 o'clock. And I think the rest of the embellishments I'm just going to film. You have the dimensional skirt. We have the fabric bolts. And then we have the buttons that I'm going to be stitching down. So I will make a video doing this and this and this. And hope you were able to get through what I got through. Any questions that I'm missing? I don't think so. So thank you for joining me for Sew Along number 4. If you want, I think the only thing that is left to be done is really stitching it all together and then putting on the binding. I will probably video that. I'll let you know this weekend because I think that might be it. Maybe I'll do the binding next week, and that's the last thing that we'll do. If we do that, it's going to be on Monday from home. So I'll send you a note. And I'll let you know if we're going to be doing any more. But this is the main chunk of our sew along, and I will video whatever is left. If you have any questions, you can send me a message. The best thing to do is email me at my email address, which is jeannie.a1sew@gmail.com. I'll put it into the comments for both of these. And thank you for joining me. I've absolutely loved this quilt. I do have to add the rest of the stuff, and I'll either do it live or I will film it and load it to the sew along page. But thanks so much, and I will see you ladies later. Oh, and Diane, I see your message. The design, so it is sold. The book, and my cover again is ripped off, but the book comes with the CD and all the instructions, and then there's an embellishment kit which comes with all of the little goodies, the specialty fabrics, the leathers, the glitters, the vinyls, all of that stuff comes in the embellishment kit. Then there is a fabric kit, and the fabric kit has all the fabric for the front and the binding, and then there is a backing kit. So at this point, I will have more fabric kits. I have the design book and the embellishment kits in stock. And you can just reach out if you want to get any of that. I'm going to add my email address in the comments right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions, ladies? Let me just put that in here. You can email Jeannie at jeannieA1sew@gmail.com. That is the best way to reach me. I do check my messages. Whoops. I check my messages. Sign into chat. Okay. Am I signed in? I cannot seem to add a message into YouTube. But like I said, it's jeannieA1sew@gmail.com. And I will see you later. And Diane, if you'll email me send me your email address. Send me your email address and I will send you a link to all this stuff and all the pricing.